Background checks.
Background checks. So are they required, or what the process is?
Do they help with it? What do they do? Nobody mentioned it.
In the Office of Service Learning, obviously we have a lot of interns that go to the public school system and things like that. Typically the agency usually has a mode of running that background check. We usually tell the student check with the agency. If you don't have the means of running that, certainly that's something we can work with the student on as well. We just need to have that information. But obviously a lot of our agencies do need to have background checks on their students. So we do let the students know that. Especially just letting the students know that if you're working with children and you've had some type of violation in the past, you need to be aware of that and be honest in the interview about that. So certainly we educate our students about that because of the not-for-profits that we work with.
And just to add to that, I don't think we help anybody with the background checks. That's something that you would be responsible for.
Does that answer your question?
Well, yeah, sort of. I'm just thinking about some of these things you see on television where students, you know, seem to fall through the cracks and they seem to have mental illnesses, and then the university say, well, you know, we dropped them, so they're no longer our responsibility. And I just wonder about those kinds of people getting into these kinds of systems. How would an agency, you know, if the person doesn't have the bug-eyed look that you see on the news media, how would you know?
So for our program, I can tell you, our program is a competitive program. So when students come through, they have to have a certain GPA just to apply. We also ask for an academic record. That's something that you can ask for. Students have access to their unofficial copy of their transcript. It doesn't cost them a dime. So if for some reason you want to take a look at, maybe there's an issue with them withdrawing several semesters through the university, and as long as they choose to share that information with you, that's something that you can make part of your application packet. It certainly gives you some insight as to where they are academically. The other thing that you might ask your students is, what does your academic load look like, as well as are you working a part-time job? So my interns, they're not paid, so it goes to what the intern down at the bottom was saying, that they have to support themselves, right? And so I pre-screen my students to make sure that they're not working more than 15 to 20 hours a week on top of carrying 12 to 15 hours of academic load, and then also doing 8 to 16 hours in an internship. So that's part of what I do, is to educate them on their ability and what those parameters are. And so I would strongly recommend doing that as well, to make sure kind of, you know, they're in a good spot academically, and that's not going to cause them stress or strain. The other thing you could ask the student to is, if they are doing it for academic credit, if the student has to withdraw for any particular reason, you could have them sign a form stating that it's their responsibility to relay that to you. So if the student is no longer pursuing academic credit, you can ask them, please communicate that to me, because obviously from a legal perspective, it may put you in a situation.
Okay, that's all.